Have you ever had that gut feeling that something's just off? Like there's a piece of the puzzle missing and your instincts are screaming at you to pay attention? What if those instincts are onto something he's trying to hide? In this video, I'll reveal 6 subtle but undeniable signs that a man may have been with someone else recently. Don't miss number 5. It's the one most women completely overlook, yet it reveals everything. Hi, I'm Leo, and I've spent years helping women like you decode men's behaviors and uncover the truths hidden in their relationships. Today, I'm here to help you take the guesswork out of those nagging doubts by identifying the small but telling clues your man might be leaving behind. Now, this isn't about jumping to conclusions or feeding unnecessary paranoia. It's about empowering yourself with the knowledge to approach your relationship with clarity and confidence. So, if you've ever felt like something's not adding up, stick around, because these 6 signs might just change how you see things. Sign 1, overcompensation or guilt behavior. At first, this one can feel like a blessing. Out of nowhere, he's buying you flowers, surprising you with your favorite meal, or complimenting you in ways he never used to. It feels good, right? But here's the thing. When someone suddenly overcompensates, it's often because they're trying to mask guilt. Think about it. If he's feeling guilty about something he did, he might go out of his way to make you happy. It's almost as if he's trying to balance the scales in his mind. While gifts and extra attention might seem sweet, you have to ask yourself, what's driving this change? The tricky part is that these gestures can cloud your judgment. Who doesn't want to feel loved and appreciated? But if his behavior feels overly nice or out of character, take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Is he avoiding meaningful conversations? Is he dodging your questions while distracting you with gifts or compliments? This is where emotional awareness comes into play. Appreciate the gestures, but also trust your gut. You might say, "You've been extra sweet lately. What's the occasion?" Watch how he responds. Genuine kindness has a natural flow, but guilt-driven behavior often comes with an edge of nervousness or deflection. While overcompensation might feel good in the moment, it's crucial to examine whether it's a genuine expression of love or a cover for something he doesn't want you to see. Sign 2, inconsistent stories. One of the biggest indicators that something isn't right in a relationship is when his stories don't add up. Maybe he tells you he was out with friends, but later mentions something that doesn't align with that timeline. Or when you ask simple follow-up questions like, "Who were you with?" or "How was the place?" he hesitates or gives vague answers. This kind of inconsistency is a red flag because it signals a lack of preparation or an effort to cover something up. People who are being honest typically don't need to think too hard about their answers. They naturally align with reality. But when someone is hiding something, even small details become harder to keep straight. Here's a tip. Listen closely to the small details. Often the truth slips through when they're trying too hard to keep a story straight. For example, he might say he went to a restaurant with a friend, but when you ask what they ate or how the food was, his response feels detached or overly rehearsed. Pay attention to these gaps. They can reveal more than he's willing to admit. Now, I'm not saying every inconsistent story is proof of wrongdoing. People forget things or miscommunicate. But if it's happening often, or you notice his defensiveness when questioned, it's worth a closer look. Sign 3, unexplained change in scent. Your sense of smell can pick up on things your eyes might miss. Imagine this. You go in for a hug, and suddenly there's a faint whiff of perfume or cologne that isn't yours. It might be subtle, a floral fragrance on his shirt, a musky scent on his jacket. But if it's unfamiliar and happens more than once, it's worth taking note. Maybe you're thinking, well, he could have brushed past someone or been in a crowded place. Sure, that's possible, but let's be honest. Our instincts are often sharper than we give them credit for. If the scent lingers, especially in places like his car or on items he frequently uses, it could be a sign he's been in close proximity to someone else. Here's how you can approach this without jumping to conclusions. You might casually say, "Oh, that's a new smell. Where's it from?" His reaction will tell you a lot. If he stammers, gets defensive, or brushes it off too quickly, your suspicions might not be far-fetched. Remember, this isn't about paranoia, but paying attention to the little details that don't add up. Trust your nose, it rarely lies. Scent is deeply personal, and if something feels off, it's worth a closer look. Combine this clue with other signs to get a clearer picture before making any assumptions. Sign 4, unusual spending patterns. Money rarely lies. If you notice unusual spending patterns like mysterious charges on his credit card, unexplained withdrawals, or a sudden shortage of cash, it's worth questioning where that money is going. Perhaps he used to be transparent about his spending, but now he's cagey or evasive when you ask about it. Here's an example. Maybe you spot a charge for an upscale restaurant on a night he said he was working late, or there's a receipt for a gift that never made its way to you. These financial breadcrumbs can often point to activities he'd rather keep hidden. This behavior doesn't always mean infidelity, but it does suggest secrecy. Suspicious spending patterns can indicate he's spending money on someone else, whether it's gifts, dinners, or even trips. It's not about spying on his finances, but if his spending feels inconsistent with what he's telling you, don't let it slip under the radar. Pro tip, if you're unsure, ask calmly and casually. Hey, I noticed this charge on the statement. What's it for? His reaction might tell you more than his words. If he gets defensive or over-explains, it could signal guilt. Remember, it's not about accusing him, it's about recognizing patterns that don't sit right and having the courage to seek clarity. Sometimes, the answers lie in the details we're too afraid to confront. Sign 5, sudden shift in grooming habits. A sudden and noticeable change in how your man presents himself can be a major red flag. Let's say he's always been a little casual about his appearance. Nothing wrong with that. But then, out of nowhere, he starts paying extra attention to grooming. A freshly trimmed beard every week, a new cologne that he's never worn around you, or an unexpected obsession with hitting the gym can all raise questions. Of course, self-improvement is generally a good thing. People take pride in looking and feeling their best for many reasons. However, if this transformation comes out of the blue, you have to ask yourself, who is he trying to impress? For instance, did he start wearing fitted clothes instead of his usual casual style? Did he mention wanting to just try something new without explaining why? Here's where it gets tricky. Changes in grooming can seem innocent, but when combined with other behaviors, like spending more time away from home or being vague about his whereabouts, they can point to deeper issues. Think of it this way. When people feel the need to impress someone new, they often put extra effort into their appearance. Engage with this observation calmly. Rather than accusing him outright, try asking subtle questions like, what made you decide to get that new cologne? Or, you've been hitting the gym a lot lately. Any specific goals? His response and demeanor can reveal whether he's simply improving for himself or hiding a deeper motive. Sign 6, increased phone secrecy. Has his phone behavior changed recently? This is one of the clearest indicators something might be going on. Maybe he started keeping his phone on silent or flipping it face down whenever you're around, or perhaps he now takes it with him everywhere, even to the bathroom, when he used to leave it lying around. These actions can indicate he's hiding something on his device. And here's the kicker, if his phone suddenly has a passcode you don't know, or he becomes defensive when you ask to use it, it's a strong sign he's trying to keep something private. Even if you're not the type to snoop, you can't help but notice these changes. Phones often carry our most personal information, including messages, photos, and social media interactions. A man who has nothing to hide usually won't be overly cautious about his phone's accessibility. If he seems jumpy every time a notification pops up or abruptly ends calls when you enter the room, your instincts are likely on point. Here's a tip. Instead of confronting him aggressively, approach the situation calmly. For example, mention, "You've been really protective of your phone lately, what's up?" His reaction will tell you more than his words. Someone with nothing to hide will usually laugh it off or offer a reasonable explanation, while a guilty party might deflect, overreact, or avoid answering entirely. When it comes to phone secrecy, it's essential to balance trust with awareness. It doesn't mean you should demand full access to his device, but if his behavior has changed drastically, don't ignore it. Sometimes his actions around his phone speak louder than words. Well, there you have it. Thanks for watching, and until the next time.